about the vocabulary given for the pre-lab assessment of the DNA extraction in strawberries. We start out with the definition of DNA, which is deoxyribonucleic acid, a self-replicating material present in all living organisms as the main constituent of chromosomes. All this means is that DNA is the blueprint for all living things. DNA says how you're going to grow, what color hair you're going to have, and everything like that. If you think of a building, it's all the bricks are the same, but the buildings turn out different. So we all have DNA, we all have the same DNA, but it's that blueprint, it's that information saying how it's going to happen is what causes the buildings to turn out different. Next we have genomics, which is the study of DNA, looking at DNA sequences, looking at how DNA is set up, triggers in DNA, and things like that. So we start out with a lab now with homogenizing, which means to make uniform or similar. And when we do this with strawberries, we're going to smash the strawberries. We want to make the entire mixture the same. We don't want the big strawberries, we don't want the small strawberries, we want everything the same, homogenized together. Going back to that brick building example, if you think of pulling out the bricks individually, all the bricks will be the same once you break them down to their original before they were ever put together. Next we have lyse, which is to cause the dissolution or destruction of cells. And in this case, we are using dish soap and salt. Dish soap will break down the membranes of the cells further, and the salt allows the DNA molecules to stick together so that later it's easier for us to pull out. And another way to think of lysing is that brick, you want to see what's inside, so you're going to break down the bricks into their original materials. Denasis is the process in which proteins are denatured, which is just further breaking down the cells, further seeing what's inside, further breaking down the materials. Clay wasn't always clay when you're breaking it apart in a brick. Clay comes out of different pieces. And then this solution that you see is the strawberries after they were broken down, add the dish soap, salt, and they were lysed, and now we're ready to separate the mixture with ethanol, pull out the DNA. So the precipitate is to become separated from a liquid, especially by a chemical process. So in this case, our precipitate is the DNA, and the way we're pulling it out is with ethanol, and it layers like oil and water would. And then this mucousy membrane you see right here, that's the DNA. We've pulled the DNA out of the cells. We've pulled the materials out of the bricks. We pulled out what we wanted to see, and in this case, it's the DNA. And that's all of the vocabulary for this assessment, and I hope I helped make it make more sense and easier to grasp.